Woke is over. Multiculturalism and mass immigration has proven to be a total failure.
There is no country in the world which uses wokeism as its soft power. It is used by people like Soros and all that to destroy countries.
Woke is Maoism with American characteristics, if I might borrow from Mao himself, who said that his philosophy was Marxism-Leninism with Chinese characteristics, which means woke is Marxism.
Woke has one purpose, only one purpose. Plenty of pretexts, but only one purpose: control. It is designed to divide people by race, by gender, by ethnicity, by religion, by vaccine status, and any other way that they can divide people into groups. Because why? Then you can justify having a government to control all those groups. No more woke. We need
France, the land of Voltaire, Rousseau, and the Revolution, the birthplace of liberty, equality, fraternity. But today, this very France finds itself in the crosshairs of a new war, not against a foreign enemy, but against an insidious ideology creeping into its institutions, its universities, its culture. Between Islamism, wokeism, and cultural Marxism, France is no longer recognizable. In the French, they've had enough. In the heart of Paris, at Le Laboratoire de la République, the intellectual warriors of France gather, not to discuss art or literature, but to fight what they see as an existential threat: woke ideology. Month after month, top minds, writers, sociologists, and academics warn of the dangers of this imported plague. Kamal Daoud calls it boring and dangerous. Gilles Keppel calls it cancel culture run amok. Natalie Heineck, she calls it a new totalitarianism. But let's get real. France was fighting racism and sexism long before this ideology arrived. Do these so-called woke activists think they've invented the battle for equality? The French intellectual class is pushing back hard, arguing that wokeism doesn't solve problems. It creates them. It divides people into groups, pits them against each other, and fuels a cycle of conflict. And the worst part? The ideology isn't even homegrown. It's an American import.
Woke is the latest fashion. From universities to government policy to schools, wokeism is everywhere. So that is how dangerous, how bad it is. The people who started wokeism is for their own country because they believe in changing their country through wokeism. There is no country in the world which uses wokeism as its soft power. It is used by people like Soros and all that to destroy countries. So this is not being spread to love them, this is being spread like a disease to dismantle people.
This isn't just a philosophical debate, it's a political war. Even President Emmanuel Macron has taken a stand. In 2022, he declared himself against woke culture, opposing the removal of controversial statues. His wife, Brigitte Macron, slammed gender-neutral pronouns. His culture minister, Rashida Dati, she called wokeism a policy of censorship. But where does this wokeism come from? It's the ultimate irony. It was born from French intellectuals, Derrida, Foucault, Baudrillard, who once exported their postmodern theories to American campuses. Now those very ideas have mutated into a monstrous form and are boomeranging back to destroy French society from within. Even left-wing thinkers like Brice Couturier are sounding the alarm. Our defenses against wokeness must be strong, he says. The fear? That woke ideology will erode the French ideal of universalism, the idea that every citizen is French first before anything else. France doesn't keep racial statistics because it refuses to divide its people by race and religion. But woke ideology? It demands the opposite. It demands people be defined by their color, their gender, their oppression status. Is this really progress? Or is it a step back into the tribalism that the French Revolution sought to abolish? And here's where it gets even darker. Some intellectuals argue that wokeism isn't just a cultural threat, it's a gateway for something even more dangerous: Islamism. Former Education Minister Jean-Michel Blanquer warns that in the name of wokeism, they encourage Islamism. Think about it. Woke activists silence criticism of radical Islam, push for censorship under the guise of inclusivity, and create an environment where questioning religious extremism is labeled as hate speech. Let's not forget, the French know what Islamist terror looks like. From the Charlie Hebdo massacre to the beheadings of school teachers, France has bled in the name of free speech. And now woke activists want to suppress free speech in the name of sensitivity? Where does this end? At what point does being inclusive become a cover for tolerating intolerance? But let's be clear, France isn't America. the French are resisting.
France is not a woke society. It's really not. So the kind of muscular response they have to problems, it doesn't necessarily feel natural in this context, but it's a kind of response I wish were mustered by our institutions in America.
In America, woke activists cancel comedians and tear down statues. In France, try telling a Frenchman that a man can be pregnant. He'll laugh in your face. The #MeToo movement tried to reshape French attitudes on relationships, but icons like Catherine Deneuve pushed back, defending the right to seduce and warning against puritanical American influences. French cinema, French literature, and even French irreverence itself are all under attack from woke ideology. But will France bend the knee, or will it fight back, just as it always has? So here's the question. Will France remain the beacon of universalism, secularism, and intellectual freedom that it has been for centuries? Or will it surrender to an ideology that thrives on division, victimhood, and censorship? The battle for France's soul is underway, and the world is watching.